No ice rod.
Yeah, they won't have time to chill, but it looks like we are getting started.
Yeah, so we'll be looking to grab this first chest, head on to the escape, get our guaranteed weapon. Powder off the first chest. Now that's pretty interesting, because they can maybe get a magic bat check in once they get to Kakariko, but they're going to need to find the hammer. Of course, there's a chance that they just get the hammer as their escape weapon. That would be the dream right now.
Absolutely there, and Powder's going to come in handy for all the anti-fairies later on that come up. So if they get bug catching net, they'll be able to get themselves some good insurance for later on if need be.
Yeah, it's a great safety, even if you don't even find the net, just like getting health back with the turtle rod, but not so lucky to get a hammer, because today we've got the bombs escape, which is basically a pain. I don't think many people enjoy this one too much.
No, the bombs are tricky to use, but the silver lining is they'll be able to check back of escape no problem. Oh, they'll be able to check it really no problem, but they'll have that, and they won't have to worry about that later on.
Yeah, normally you'd be so happy to get bombs in a chest and escape, because you can then get through that bombable wall at the end. You don't have to worry about farming enemies, but we already had bombs. We don't have any higher capacity than 10, so just that chest that does nothing for us. So we'll have to see how these runners approach these upcoming rooms. I think, you know, how much somebody's practiced their bomb strats really shows in the escape, because you can do it relatively fast if you know where the bomb is going to knock the guards and stuff like that, but we'll have to see how it goes. Things can go wrong very quickly with the bomb escape, so both runners going into this first guard now, and we'll see how this fight goes.
Yeah, and with that, and if they have a little bit of luck, they may be able to find something a little easier to use if they're having trouble.
Yeah. You saw Dsitt actually open up the chest first, maybe hoping for something good out of it, but it was just the map, so no weapon. I have seen that happen where, you know, you kill the guard and then you open the chest and there's like a sword in it, and it's like, why didn't I open this first? But both runners getting through there. They both took a bit of damage, but there's this guaranteed heart in this pot there, so they'll grab that and carry on down.
Yeah, with bombs it's not surprising. You gotta be careful what you use, otherwise that idea is gonna blow up in your face, so you don't want that happening.
Yeah, that's for sure. So next two guards coming up. This green guard only takes one bomb to kill, and Dsitt misses the first one. Load goes for the guaranteed, like, I'm just gonna run into you with carrying the bomb strat. Dsitt had to use a couple bombs on this now. Nicely enough, there's a bomb in the drop pool, so he's able to use that. And Load will be using the, you know, wall in the center of the room to mess with this blue guard here.
Well, they won't be planting any angry bombs on that one. A heart container is always great to get in this early going.
Yeah, that's true. Oh gosh, but Dsitt takes a death there, not able to get that guard before the bomb exploded on him. So we'll have to start back from the beginning of the escape, but you do get a bomb refill during this so that you're not soft locked and have to restart the game.
Yeah, there's various points where you do get a bomb refill, and I think it's dependent on where the checkpoint is, too, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Like, you can get a couple back after Zelda, you can get a couple back in the sewers, so you will have ways to get bombs back. And there's more bombs in the chest by Zelda, so this is a very, very heavy bomb escape.
Destructomania madness, everybody. Hopefully the players with all these bombs they're finding aren't shouting some of their own, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Dsitt here as he comes back into these guard fights. It didn't go too well on the first attempt, but we'll see what he opts for this green guard, carrying the bomb for longer, so takes the damage, and now still has to kill this guard, despite the fact that he has the chest in here already. He has to kill this guard to get a key for the basement. So he's got him set up in the middle now, and manages to take him out with 2 bombs this time, so he's able to progress on. Load's making progress to the escape, walking up, and will be onto the fun dark sewers where you have to deal with that horrible key rat who will either cooperate and die quickly to your bombs, or run straight at you and be a massive pain.
Kind of funny, we have a Dark Zelda sprite in the lead with the Zelda sprite, so it's almost like Zelda's going to the dark side.
I love all the, you know, little quirks of these sprites. It'd be hilarious if Link was waiting in the sewer for you to rescue him when you played a Zelda sprite, but That's a lot of work.
That's true, but, you know, never say never with Randomizer, I guess.
Yep. Now, some more fun RNG in the Dark Sewers here. We'll have to see how well these snakes or rogues cooperate as Load comes through this room. And actually, a pretty decent pattern is able to dodge around without having to take a damage boost, so that's pretty good.
Not so much there, though, but they kind of do that there anyway more often than not.
Yeah, that one's super unlikely, I think, that you actually get to walk past. It seems like they're always in the way. So Load's got a couple more rooms than coming to Keyrat, but thanks to those bombs and chests throughout, it still has 8 bombs, so even if this goes catastrophically wrong, you know, you'll have many extra attempts at the Keyrat. Of course, you hope you get it in the first bomb, because it comes much, much harder if you have to throw multiple. And the Keyrat, oh, I think it's the one that ran up, but it's gonna cooperate, you know, reasonably well, and Load's able to get it and carry on through the sewers.
Thankfully, yes, and we'll be able to see what's back of Escape. If there's 3 bombs back here, I will laugh.
It would be fitting, given what we've seen so far. But we're coming up on these 3 chests. Map's already been found, so we get a full heart, the hammer, and a bottle. Oh, that is really good.
I'll take it. I think these runners are too, because now they can have a good weapon to use and save their bombs for Kakariko.
Yeah, that's really nice. They have the bottle to clean up the sick kid, and since they got the powder earlier, get magic bat out of the way. So they're basically tacking on 2 extra checks to their Kakariko, and they both picked up the pots at the start of Escape in the secret passage. So they have magic to use the powder once. It's a good reason to pick up at least a little bit of magic in Escape, because you don't want to be Kakariko with 0 magic.
Absolutely not.
Unable to powder.
We may or may not get a lumberjack cave. I've seen some people opt to skip that one until they absolutely have to, but we'll get a chance to see maybe what's there first.
Yeah, Dsitt coming up on the Keyrat, and it cooperated pretty well. He's able to take out of 1 bomb, so he'll be breathing a sigh of relief. He's through the bomb's escape now. It just gets to collect his stuff from the back and head out. Looks like Load's going to be heading up towards the lumberjack check. This is kind of, you know, a bit more conservative kind of thing. You can lose a lot of time if it's a 4-stagger seed, like something horrible like the ice rod is on here, and you would never think to come back because it doesn't lock anything except your progression at the end of the game. But we'll take a look. It's not likely that there's anything here, but you get some peace of mind and you get some tree pulls in, and that was actually such a fast check that I completely missed what was on the ledge there.
Yeah, it totally looked like something pointy at the bottom, maybe a heart container.
Yeah, it's probably a piece of heart or something like that. We might get another look at it when Dsitt heads up, but we'll see. So safe to assume, I think, that there was nothing good there for now.
The interesting is, too, they haven't gotten a lot of rupees. You're going to want to get some rupees for the bottle vendor, but 10 bomb upgrade couldn't hurt.
Yeah, you notice the Load doubling back on that. Normally you don't care too much about bomb upgrades, but when you have so few weapons early on, having max capacity can be pretty good. We get a quick map check from Dsitt here. Looks like Desert and Eastern are 5-6 crystals, and Tower of Hera is the blue pendant, so maybe some Pyramid Fairy in our future.
That's what it seems like to me. That's pretty interesting. I haven't seen the red crystals like that in a while.
Yeah, so Dsitt will be heading up as well. Load's dropping down, heading towards Kakariko, the trove of items available here. And we'll hopefully get something good. Hopefully even just some rupees are nice, as you mentioned. You want money for the bottle vendor. They haven't found pretty much any so far. So you might need to see like a skip of the bottle vendor or multiple trips down into Pline's hut, or hopefully just like a couple 20s showing up will do the trick.
Worst case scenario, if they really did have to route it, they could kind of easily sneak it back with a flute if progression doesn't say, oh, hey, there's a cape.
Yep. That's you know, not bad item to have. Maybe a little scary because it hints that you might need to do Aga to go to the Dark World, but we still have many locations to check in the Light World, so don't need to think too much about that yet. Getting a couple of rupees here and there, so Load's actually set up for the bottle vendor after getting the guaranteed rupees in Kakariko well, so no worries on that count. But Dsitt does have a little bit less money, maybe by like 5 or something, so we'll probably be fine as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. If the worst case, doubling back isn't that big of a deal in the early going, so it's not like having to run through Skullwards again.
Yeah. Oh, Power Glove showing up as the first chest in the well, so we're only a Moon Pearl away from Dark World access already.
That's interesting. We may be seeing that soon here. There's the Ice Rod, speaking of which earlier.
Yeah, so that won't be messing with our runners too much. I always like to see the Ice Rod, really. Of course, the Fire Rod's more useful, but that Ice Rod is a terrible thing to check.
Exactly, because if you need to go into Turtle Rock, then you're going to have to look everywhere for it. I mean, it can be anywhere.
Yep, so Dsitt picking up that cape in Blind's Hut, and we'll be collecting all of the same stuff that Load's doing, just a bit behind because of that escape death. And we're getting, you know, items that start to put together a progression path, but we don't actually have access to anything new yet outside of Sick Kid and the Magic Bat. But, you know, if that Moon Pearl shows up, then we are going to have so much that the runners can do. And I love watching seeds like this because you get to see what people decide to do when they have all the options available to them.
Exactly, because I mean, when you have early Dark World access, that opens up so many doors, and especially just having the hammer so early too. If you were in that situation, what would you do?
Well, in my case, I would probably go check South Shore anyways. I don't think the runners will want to walk around Dark World with no sword and low health too much, but, you know, get some more light world checks out of the way, and then think about Village of Outcasts after that. It's good that it might let them avoid, you know, a potential double dip on Eastern. And we saw Load got a bunch of money. There was 300 rupees in the back of the bar, so decided to buy some bombs to get that bomb count up, and then headed down to the library, but notably did not go over to Magic Bat. So this is kind of a more like standard Kakariko route. You almost never get to check Magic Bat early on like this. So maybe he forgot it, or maybe wants to lump it together later with some blacksmith checks or something. But we'll see if Dsitt remembers that that's available.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to forget because it just is like I don't know what the percentage chance is, but we'll just call it 1% that it actually happens. So that's tricky.
Yeah, so Load continuing to follow the standard early game routing, having no access to anything outside of Sphere 1 for the most part, and is going to be checking the dam, heading down to Minimal Limb Cave most likely. And here we'll see what Dsitt opts to do. Could continue going over that Magic Bat, or might head down to Library as well. It's easy to forget this one. It looks like the Bat's going to be a bit lonely for a while.
Yeah, it can make do. Oh, hey, those are flippers.
Wow, that's the convenient place for the flippers, right in the dam. So we're fairly close to Zora money as well right now. If we get, you know, a rupee drop or two more, then a trip up to Zora is going to be really nice, being able to get all of that out of the way quite quickly once you're down here already.
Absolutely, and there's a place up in Ice Rod Cave that if either of them wanted to, well, never mind that, because there's 300 rupees right there.
That's beautiful. It's such a nice route now. You can go mini Moldorm, you can take a dip in the water, and get a lot more checks in. So this overworld early on is, you know, just leading to more overworld for now, but there's got to be some good items showing up in these areas soon.
Well, we're going to get a good check of the 5 items in Mini Moldorm Cave, so that's pretty exciting.
Yep. First Moldorm decides to cooperate and get bombed nicely. This is nice, fast bomb strats from Load. Just one dodge on the right side because that one decided to be a jerk, but that was pretty quick for that room, so that's good stuff. We'll get a look at these items. Got the blue boomerang, got the boots. That's pretty darn good. 50 rupees. We'll take it. More bombs. And an empty bottle. That's a really nice cave, actually.
Yeah, I know Load wanted early boots, so that's got to be a good load for him.
Yeah, that's for sure. This helps you get over to Ice Rod Cave quite quickly. This location can be very annoying. Now, it is still kind of annoying because not having a sword means that crabs will be a pain, even though you do have the boots. You can't just knock them out of the way automatically with your dash. But Load still has pretty good health. For some reason, these crabs are incredibly strong and they do 2 damage, but Load manages to dodge around and get to the Ice Rod Cave pretty fast. So we'll get this check out, and then I wouldn't be surprised to see them head back down, take a dip into the water, and, you know, swim all the way to Zora, basically. Oh my gosh, there's a Titan's Mitts in the Ice Rod Cave.
Boy, that's something you want to get your mitts on early on. So that's good news there for Load, and hopefully for Dsitt as well.
Yeah, you can sometimes see people skip Ice Rod Cave because it's so far out of the way and it's faster to go with the flute. I feel like with the boots, it's not a bad decision to go up there, but you know, there's a lot of other stuff that's available that can make you put that cave off. And if Dsitt does that, that'll be pretty painful. Missing out on the Titans can be quite troublesome. So Load is going to go back and go through some of this swimming stuff. We'll see what Dsitt does. He's going to stay and he's going to head to Ice Rod Cave. Once the things, but gets munched by a crab. Now this is dangerous.
Oh, geez, yeah, those I don't know why those crabs do 2 hearts of damage, but if you've ever been pinched by a crab, that hurts.
Yeah, doing a good job dodging everything so far, and gonna play it safe here. Wants to maybe stun these, but they get out of the way, so is able to dash up, and now just needs to avoid this last screen of crabs. Oh, this is smart. Pulls out the cape, so if the crab gets too close, just cape and iframe it, but alright.
Very wise maneuver from Dsitt.
Nice. Alright, so grabs those mitts, saves and quits from here. Now, could still be coming from Link's house to do the swimming. We'll have to see what it's going to be, because this is, you know, basically just as close. When you already have the flippers, you don't have to bother setting up big flippers. And is heading to the right, so could be Eastern, could be flippers, we'll find out in a moment. It's going to be flippers, okay.
And we'll get to check the Waterfall Fairy Cave as well.
Yeah, just a really efficient route. That's the 3rd bottle we found already. It's got a bee in it, so we're ready to put things into those bottles, but...
Yeah, we'll have to see. Can always, if they're feeling good enough, they can always, at least Load can slip over afterwards and get some potions.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we have plenty of money. You spend your money on Zora, you'll have the potion money later in the seed. I wouldn't be surprised to see it put off because they do have a red potion already, and you know, likely you'll get the flute or the mushroom later to move you over there, but it's definitely an option. Now, we haven't actually seen any progression. Unless it's on Zora, we are going to have to be forced over to Eastern. Although, King's Tomb and Bonk Rocks are open now. And Zora's just got some bombs. We're going to run out of bombs and chests pretty soon.
I don't think that... I think that Load's kind of giving some bombs himself, because nothing but a piece of heart on the Zora ledge there, so gotta go check some other stuff out.
Yeah, so back to Link's house. Looks like it's probably going to be a play towards Eastern Palace. Check Sahasrah's closet, check what's in Eastern potentially, although sometimes you'll see people dip out if they get some progression in Sahasrah, because you want to put off Eastern until you have the bow, so we'll have to see what Load opts for. Dsitt's going to be following Load's footsteps through Zora, getting those bombs, and then see what Dsitt decides to do.
Yeah, checking out Eastern when you don't have any other ideas isn't that bad of a play. I mean, even if you have to double dip it, it's not super far out of the way, I guess, in my opinion, so...
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's probably the most double-dipped dungeon. Cane of Samaria showing up in Sahasrah's closet as well as the book, so... Took away Sahasrah's walking cane, so he's not going to be too happy about that. But we do gain some access to Desert by finding that book. Now, Desert's a pretty horrible dungeon to go over to, and without having a fire source, they can't even complete it. So Load's going to carry on towards Eastern and hope to find something good in here.
It seems like it's building itself up to be that way, but you never know. But it is nice to see, though, the early Cane of Samaria. If they have to dip in the Skull Woods, it makes that one room a lot easier. And then plus they're that quicker to having to beat Meyer if they have to, so always good.
Yeah, that's true. So Load will be progressing through Eastern. Both runners basically following the same path so far. I mean, basically I think once we find the Pearl, we're going to see divergence, because with Mitts and Hammer, they have access to everything. Dsitt grabs that cane, Sahasrah's back closet, and that book. Looks like it's also intending to carry on to Eastern, so clear this part of the world out, and then they're going to have a couple one-offs here and there. Magic Bat, King's Tomb, Bonk Rocks, Desert Palace is open, and if they were so inclined, they could sequence break up to Death Mountain, but there's not much up there, not having the hook shot or the mirror.
Yeah, and if you're going to sequence break, it could very well imply that the seed thinks you're farther off than you really are, so you may not actually get something good in the long run.
Yeah, that's true. Particularly that Death Mountain sequence break. The intended way up there can often be the flute, which you want as soon as possible if it's going to be a seed that gives you the flute. So, you know, if you find the lamp, it's like, okay, sure, you go up. But if you want to look for the flute in the logic potentially, then putting off that sequence break makes a lot of sense.
Very nice clear from Load there, only making 2 of the 4 potential Stealthos appear.
Yep, just avoiding those trigger lines by walking up and around them. So we've seen 2 items in Eastern so far. They were both health upgrades, a piece of heart and a full heart, and Load opening the big chest, getting a compass. So there's still 1 item available in here. Now, Load going to the big chest, or the vanilla big key chest right now. We'll either find the map or the last item. Of course, hoping for the last item to here, but we'll have to go through some dark rooms first.
And these aren't some bad dark rooms to go through, since the first room is pretty much just like a giant filled-in square, and then the other one, pretty much all you gotta do is walk forward, pick up a couple of pods, and the key's almost right in your path if you just walk straight. So those aren't 2 bad rooms to go through.
Yeah, generally the Eastern dark rooms go fairly well. Load's using the boomerang for some echolocation here. When you have a sword, you can just hold it out and watch the sparkles from your charged spin show you where you are, but without a sword it's a little bit more annoying. But Load has gotten through those rooms nicely, and we'll be taking a look at this vanilla big key chest momentarily. Dsitt following up, and Load gets that damage boost in to skip killing the enemies in the room, picks up the blue mail, so that's the last item in Eastern, and a pretty welcome defensive upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, probably not the item they're looking for, but I mean, don't look a gift horse in the mouth there. You know, that's some good defense there.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. So Load gonna be playing down to Desert now, which makes sense. It's another dungeon, and dungeons have a slight bias towards their items. They're a bit more likely to be useful than overworld items. So this is a pretty good play, and there's just a couple one-offs sitting elsewhere in the world. Now, it would be annoying if one of those was a fire source, but chances are that if there's going to be progression in one place or the other, it's more likely that it's here. So Load will be heading into the desert to go look at the ledge. May opt to check Vagina's cave first in case it is a fire source, and looks like that is going to be the play.
Yeah, if you're in desert, you might as well check out Agina, because there's no real good place to route in the cave otherwise, you know?
Yeah. It's slightly more optimal to do it after desert, because you can just jump down and then save and quit out of here so that you're not having to walk out of this cave. But, you know, by the same token, if this is the progression that you're looking for, then you do all of desert, you watch the book cutscene, then you get like the lamp here, and then you watch the book cutscene again and go back to the desert. So you do see a bit of a divergence here. Dsitt is going to clean up some of these one-offs that have opened up here and there. So taking a look at King's Tomb, probably going to follow it up with Bonk Rocks. King's Tomb, just a bomb upgrade today. And there's a shield sitting on the desert ledge, so I doubt that we're going to see them go pick that up.
Probably not. I mean, it only really gets better once you have the fire shield. But if you want the shield, then you might as well just pick up that one. You know?
Yeah, it's true. The fire shield or mirror shield can be pretty nice, but I don't know if you want to go to way for it. We'll see though. If you have nothing else to do and you just want to think, like dash down there. So Load's entering desert now. We're going to see that Bonk Rocks from Dsitt, and what would be huge is if we see Fire Rod or Lamp in any of these locations Dsitt is checking. And oh man, the Moon Pearl showing up in Bonk Rocks. So that is the key to this seed. Dsitt now has access to so much in the Dark World, and is going to be looking to be heading straight over to the Village of Outcast area now.
Funny, I was actually going to mention that too. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be even better with the Moon Pearl? Oh, there it is. Hey, there we go.
Getting the magic bat check in now, so, you know, realized, oh yeah, there's this. So we'll see what's here. It's probably nothing at this point because our locations are very diluted now. We have very, very many locations open to us with that Moon Pearl, and progression items will probably be buried in the Dark World somewhere.
Well, who knows? There's always that one-off check that you don't check that has a progression item, so peace of mind is always a good item to have as well. And it appears that looks like it's all it is.
Yeah, so getting that out of the way, of course, it makes tons of sense because you don't have the mirror. You know, you're not going to lump that with the blacksmiths and how long you're going to put it off for. So getting that, all that stuff cleaned up. So Dsitt just hasn't visited desert, but it doesn't look like Load has really found much here. And without that fire source, can't get to the dungeon. So Dsitt, you know, making up some good ground here. We'll be entering Village of Outcasts soon, and I expect Load won't be too far behind in checking these other locations because there really is not that much left for them in the light world now.
Yeah, pretty much. Load picking up the shield there, so probably kind of thinking along my own lines there, so we'll see.
Dsitt got the skull chasing him and powdered it, and it turned into one of those little jelly things. That's pretty funny.
Turn something hard into something softer. Great use. Yeah, great use of the powder there. We never see that happen, so nice thinking.
Yeah, so Dsitt will be checking out Skullwoods here. Can't complete the dungeon. Load picks up that moon promo, but you get a couple checks in, and you have that dungeon bias working for you. So the 2 items available in Skullwoods can be pretty important sometimes. Not quite so much as earlier versions of the randomizer, but definitely something you don't want to leave behind. If the fire rod's up here and you just leave it for forever, then goodness.
Yeah, the items that are hardest to find are always the ones that happen to be in their vanilla places.
Oh, now this is a little unfortunate. Load remembered to go to the magic bat as well, but got messed up by anti-fairies and Eastern, so actually has no magic here and will not be able to do this.
Oh, geez, too bad couldn't fake mushroom, but then again, you know, powder.
Yeah, and remembers. Now, fortunately, that... Oh, quick map check of the Dark World. We've got Skullwoods sitting as our green pendant, Thieves Town as our red pendant, and all the rest are the rest of the normal crystals.
Still not bad, though. I mean, you can always go check the first 4 chests in Thieves Town. 3 potential items you can get, and you're always going to get a big key there anyway, so there could be something progressive there still.
Yeah, Thieves Town is a really interesting location when it's a pendant because, you know, if you get 3 items in those first few chests, then you don't really want to go to the back, but sometimes there's something in the back. Load's going to get that Dark World map check in as well, get all that information. Dsitt, I don't think I've found anything good in Skullwoods yet. There's just a compass there, so looks like all the good stuff's actually in the back, locked by the fire rod, but Load's going to be making these checks as well.
At least I have the Can of Samara to make that easier, because trying to play around with those Gibdos on low hearts, even with blue mail, can be such a massive pain.
Yeah, that's for sure. Still no swords, so dealing with overworld enemies even is annoying. You see Dsitt using the boomerang to get some stuns in, so you can't ever say that the boomerang is useless, because you know, sometimes when you don't have a sword, it's your best friend.
Exactly. We've been seeing some clever use of items by both players today so far, so very good job on that.
Yep, Dsitt getting a look up at the bumper cave here. It's just a piece of heart. They do have the cape, so it would have been an option to check, and just taking a look at it right away makes a lot of sense. Now it's going to be heading into Village of Outcasts. We'll get more items, a more dense concentration of items showing up here now, and hopefully a sword soon. I hate these swordless scenes that go on forever, and it's just like such a pain to deal with every enemy.
Exactly. I mean, at least they have hammer, but the hitbox is kind of wonky on that one, so it can be tricky to use.
Yeah. Oh man, and Load getting that anti-fairy hit in Eastern, I didn't think much of it at the time, but it's actually pretty annoying because having no magic, well, it has to go up and pick up a magic pot up at the top corner. Knowing that was there was pretty good. I didn't know there was a magic pot in that one.
Yeah, knowing where your pickups are is pretty nice, small but very nice thing to know.
Yeah, and Load's had enough of having no magic, so he's going to bomb this wall and grab the full decanter back here.
And there's a big key already for Dsitt.
Yeah, I missed what was in the very first chest of Thieves Town, but it didn't jump out to me as anything incredible, so it might have been nothing.
Oh, getting turned into Bomberman.
What does a frog have to do with Bomberman?
Well, The way this seed's been going, I think it's quite fitting with the early going.
Yeah, you're right, Arn. That's the truth. Okay, so big 20, and the Dsitt is gonna stay in. Or whoa, okay, never mind. They don't have the mirror, so this might be a death warp. But no, they're gonna stay in Thieves Town and go deeper because no progression was found here so far from the looks of things. And Dsitt's looking for something to show up. Like, this can be full cleared. Killing the boss is a pain without a sword, but they have some options, Hammer or Kina Samaria, that can work.
Yeah, you really got to know your blind strats to be able to do it at this low health. I've seen it a few times on here, and once you get to 3 blind heads, it turns into a giant miss.
Yeah, it can be pretty scary. But since this is a pendant, you know, we might just find the items pre-blind and just leave.
That's probably what I would do. I mean, why waste time being in a pendant dungeon if you don't have to be?
Exactly. We don't know what the pedestal is yet, but you can usually just gamble that the pedestal is nothing because its required rate is pretty darn low. To answer your question in chat, they actually could not clear desert on their first visit because you need a fire source to light torches at the end of the dungeon to open up the boss. So they never had the option of completing it unless they found a lamp or fire rod along the way.
And just 10 arrows in Thieves Town for another item, so no, it seems like really there so far.
Yeah, so probably 1 or maybe 2 items left. I still don't remember what was in that first chest. But Load's gonna clean up Village Outcast, probably also dip into Thieves Town at this point. But actually heading down might just be saying, I'm just gonna avoid that pendant dungeon entirely.
We as commentator, we can kind of see that's a smart move at the moment, but still don't know. Well, for Load anyway, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, there's lots of overworld still available, and it's not like it takes long to get back to Thieves Town when you have the Titansmiths. So, Dsitt also hasn't found anything of note here, so this could be a nice time save for Load. He's going to be getting through this digging game, and just gets a piece of heart for it. But pieces of heart are still welcome when you're on pretty low health early on.
I've seen some good fortunate luck where runners have been really low on health, get a piece of heart out of a chest, and then manage to get enough for a full heart and get a full refill. So that's always a good thing to have in a pinch.
Yeah, that's for sure. Looks like Load was carrying on with the Dark World, but then remembered, oh right, I can pick up the Blacksmith. Okay, so we do have some more knowledge about Thieves Town now as we see the map showing up in the big chest. Blind does have the last item. The items so far were not useful, but Blind has one. So Dsitt is going to walk Blind up and be looking for this kill, which is pretty annoying with the hammer and low magic, but we'll see how it goes.
It's a good gamble here. It's if Blind has a percussion item we need as well as the bad pun. We just did. I see a sword. Oh, Load picks up the sword from Stumpy. Very nice.
Yeah, so 33 minutes in, we get our first sword. That's pretty nice to have. I mean, it's not a very damaging weapon, but it's so useful for just knocking enemies out of the way and, you know, slashing curtains and all this kind of stuff. So Load's gonna be happy with that, and we'll be checking out Hype Cave pretty soon. Ooh, Dsitt is gonna have to pop this red potion here. Not bad, but is on phase 3 now of Blind. Just needs 3 more hits and is going to use this last bit of magic. Gets 2 in with that Samaria block, 1 more, and there goes Blind. And Load, next check, picks up the Master Sword from Hype Cave and Bombos. So Hype Cave, oh my gosh, and there's another sword in Hype Cave. What the heck?
Hype Cave bringing the hype. I haven't seen Happy Slashes, but hey, you know what? It's like thanking the little thief there in Hype Cave.
Wow, that's really, really good. 3 swords showing up in quick succession, so Load's gonna be armed to the teeth now.
There will be lots of flailing of tempers in all the right way in this seed. I love it.
This frog's getting a lot of exercise on Load's side. The full world tour, without the mirror to return it to its home naturally. Load's just gonna get a bunch of Dark World checks in and then save and quit and run it back down there. So Dsitt's gonna be following the same path out of Thieves Town now, and we'll get all of these goodies, all the swords, but
Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to check K45 right now, but I think the consolation prize of 3 different swords is a pretty good one.
Yeah, that's gonna be quite nice.
I think Hype Cave's earned its name back today. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, with all of that panic about the swords, I didn't even see what blind dropped, but... So, the Thieves' Town may have been a complete bust.
But if on the off chance chat gets what they want for a Ped Seed, you know, that could put him in the lead too. Never know. That's the fun of Rando.
That's true. And Load might just go back to Thieves' Town at some point when it becomes, you know, a more tantalizing option. Like now with a sword, blind is a lot easier, so it's a lot more like, oh yeah, okay, I can fully clear Thieves' Town, so no worries. So Load's taking this road all the way up to Catfish, and Catfish today has the single arrow. Goodness.
It's dangerous to go along. Take this!
Load doesn't want to take Catfish's single arrow away and just save and quit before it hit the ground, so that Catfish needs that single arrow to defend itself.
Yeah,
Load's
I really
gonna now turn into Blacksmith.
I really didn't get Catfish's point, but Dsitt is going to be pretty happy here in a minute or two now.
Yeah, 3 swords. The fighter's sword hardly even got slashed at all, and the master sword was never seen. You just saw it. And... Oh, we're done with this one. Alright, so the swordsmiths, what are they crafting today? We'll see in a moment on Load's side of things. And Load also can get the magic bat check out of the way finally because it has full magic. So, swordsmith's just a piece of heart. Dsitt's gonna be happy finding bombos and the tempered sword in Hype Cave now.
You know, I think now with all that, Ice Palace is probably pretty open to them now.
Oh yeah, that's true. They can swim in and they have bombos for it. Also with the tempered sword, it's a lot more appealing to go fight Cold Stare because it's a great weapon to do damage to it. So what else could they be doing? I mean, they still can't really do that much on Death Mountain and it's a sequence break, so that's not too appealing.
I would imagine once they get more progression items, the pod in Eastern Play will be a thing. We just haven't really seen that yet, so it's probably going to be a later on dungeon, I have a feeling of.
Yeah, and looks like you called Ice Pulse pretty well. Load's heading down in that direction now. Unless they turn up here, in which case it's a pod play, but looking down, it's going to be ice. Makes sense, it's a crystal you can fully complete. Sometimes you want to avoid ice because checking everything in it is rather slow compared to just going through. But early on in the seed, just getting crystals you can complete out of the way is a pretty good call. The only other real play that I can see here is going to pod, but without the bow, that's not too fun.
Nah, because even, I mean, you could bow lock yourself easily, but there is that fairly newly found glitch where you can, I think it's like you use a bottle and you can mess with the screen boundaries in the room with the mimics.
Yeah, that's right. So you can at least make sure that you can check everything except for the boss. You still need the bow to get down there, but you at least have access to those chests, which are usually just keys on the right side by using the potion glitch. And Load still does have a red potion, so could do it, but opting for Ice Palace, pretty sensible here. Dsitt getting that disappointment out of Catfish, be turning in the Blacksmith, and then we'll see what Dsitt decides if they go Ice Palace or maybe, you know, do something a little bit different.
Yeah, we'll have to see that. And didn't quite catch what was in the first chest there for Load.
Oh, I missed it too. I think maybe Load dropped a frame or two, but it's all good. We'll find out soon if it was useful once they menu.
And Dsitt gonna get their thankfulness cash.
And now, what is Dsitt's play? Pulls out the hammer. So it looks like staying in this area, might be heading back into the Dark World again. Could be going for the full pass with the purple chest and doing hammer pegs now, so we do see some divergence, opting a little bit more overworld for dipping to ice.
Couldn't hurt, but if your opponent needs to do that later, that could be all the difference.
Alright, so here goes Load's run at the Ice Palace bomb jump, setting up a pretty precise pixel here, and manages to get on through on the first try, so that'll be pretty good. Doesn't have the hook shot to skip over this fire bar cleanly, he's just going to opt to wait and not fall after doing that bomb jump, because that is just horrible.
Yeah, I've seen that once or twice, especially after the bomb jump. That bomb jump is a lot trickier than it looks when you're originally doing it, so that's something you don't want to fall at again.
Yeah, and it can save a ton of time in Ice Palace, more so when you're in go mode, because it just lets you completely skip the big key. But still a good time saver, and Dsitt finds the Quake medallion sitting in the hammer pegs there, so that could come in important later, potentially, but we will not know until we get a look at what Mire and Turtle Rock need to enter.
Yeah, because they're going to need at least one of those, but we don't know if they need one, two, or even if they still need either medallion yet. So it's going to be interesting when they rot that in.
Oh man, and we now know that first chest in ice we missed was the fire rod and a red rupee showing up as well. So we're 2 items found in Ice Palace so far, and the fire rod being one of them is pretty important. That's a really nice item to have.
Yeah, because not only can they go check the back of Skull Woods now, they can also full clear desert.
That's true. Their first fire source, so ice is definitely a good play here. Dsitt finishing up with the purple chest, just gets a piece of heart for that. And Dsitt, having not done desert earlier in the game, is going to take a look at it now, but unfortunately will not find a fire source over here, so it's just going to be the same kind of checks that Load got out of the way earlier.
Should be interesting to see too, because I believe we still have one more item in Ice Palace, and we still have one more item in Ice Palace. Yeah, definitely seemed that the seed was pushing him right from Hype Cave to Ice Palace, and was certainly right.
Yep. Now Load is going to have to deal with the bomb jump in this jelly room without the hook shot, which is, this is a less commonly known bomb jump, but they're heading in here, so we'll see how the setup goes. You can just, there's a couple different setups for it, so we'll see what they opt for. And getting a couple of these jellies out of the way, because they're pretty darn annoying.
Is this one you've had to do often in your career?
It's not too common that you have to do this, but when it does have to happen, then knowing it is pretty good. There's, oh no, Load's actually too low on health to try it now, but does have a red potion. We'll see if they have to use it on this, or they just say, let's just die, go back to the start of the dungeon, but we'll use the potion. Now there is a setup for this where you just get onto the lowest pixel possible without falling, and then just turn left and place the bomb, and then you don't have to move between placing the bomb and doing the jump. If you place it up like this, you do have to take that step to the right to make it work, and that can make things a little bit harder. So Load's trying to set this up with this setup, but it's, yeah, this one's a pain if you haven't practiced it specifically, and since it comes up rarely, you know, not many people have.
Yeah, and if people are going to practice the bomb jump, it's usually going to be at that first one with the room with the fire bar. So it's like you said, it's not going to come up.
Yeah, Load's going to have to save and quit there, not having enough health to try it again. So only got 2 of the items out of ice, but one of them being the fire rod means now that they've got a lot of other options, a lot of other things that they can do, and might just be following through on some of those, like maybe heading down, finishing desert now, potentially.
I think that's looking like the case here. At least for the progression item, it makes noping out of it a little less of a big deal. But if it has something major, you're gonna have to go back and get it on the second try. So that might take some time out of Load.
Yeah, now one important thing to note here is that doing those bomb jumps is not ever required by the randomizer's logic. But since they do have Cane of Samaria, they could potentially use one less key to finish Ice Palace. So Cold Stare might have the key that's intended to be used to get over to the right side, or something annoying like that. So it could be that those chests are expected, and the hookshot, I believe, could still potentially be over there, but it's fairly unlikely. So Load will maybe be looking to come back with the hookshot, or just maybe in go mode, just killing golds there in Ice Palace later.
It looks like Dsitt's going to make a pod play. Not a bad idea. I mean, there's 5 items, and more often than not, I've seen pod be actually pretty viable dungeon to go into.
Yeah, pod has an extremely heavy dungeon bias because of how the randomizer algorithm places items. You can basically consider the 5 chests in pod that actually have items to be about the worth of 12 overworld chests, because everything but the map and compass gets placed after the items. So we'll have to see what pod's gonna have for us. If the hookshot shows up here, that would be pretty nice, or even nicer would be the bow.
Oh, absolutely, because then they would be able to full clear it right from there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and Load making progress through desert, so we'll find out what Lanmo's got for us today. We know at least there's a crystal, and even a 5/6 crystal as Dsitt starts in pod. I don't think Dsitt has a potion, so if this first chest is not a small key, then the entire walk up here is going to be a pretty big bust. But this first chest is a small key almost all the time, so we'll have to see what's it going to be. It's a small key.
I had a single green rupee in that one once, and that was not a happy day for me.
Oof.
But thankfully, unlike me, Dsitt will be able to continue in pod. So that's good news on that end.
Yeah, and Load getting towards the Lanmo fight now, lights these torches up, and to see what Dsitt finds in pod. Likely a bunch of keys in this first part, but there's a map there. There are at least 4 keys among these first half of the dungeon's chests. So this one is probably also going to be a key. Oh my gosh, it's the hookshot!
You calls them like you sees them, don't you?
Wow, well that means Dsitt can't do anything in pod anymore, because there's no doors that Dsitt can open. It doesn't have a potion to do the potion glitch, but having the hookshot, that opens up a huge amount of chests on Death Mountain.
Ooh, there's a lamp too, so that's kind of interesting. The lamp is there, but now they have to worry none about light sources.
Yeah, that's funny. The fire rod was locking the lamp. So the intended progression path is actually go to ice to get the fire rod, to get the lamp, to go up Death Mountain. Now, of course, I mentioned, a lot of stuff is open to Dsitt on Death Mountain. He'll have to go up in the dark, but looks like that's exactly what he wants to do. And I mean, it makes a ton of sense to do this right now because it's so many chests, and yeah, it's just gonna be. There's got to be something up here, almost certainly.
And it looks like the stun drop is a single bomb, so interesting on that one.
Yeah, just more bombs in the seed. Now this is pretty neat too. Load's going up Death Mountain as well, but won't be able to do very much of the hookshot.
It's good though, because then you can set that. Well, at least you can set the waypoint, so you can come back later, especially where they don't have the mirror of the flute yet. So that's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's true. You get that out of the way. You don't have to come back for it. The Load's able to do this with light. Dsitt got through it quickly in the dark. Just holding the sword out is enough to get through those rooms. And we'll see what the old man has today. Just a single rupee. And probably heading up to check Spectral Rock, which is the only thing that Load will be able to check. Dsitt gets a million chests approximately on the right side of Death Mountain after this.
Yeah, so getting that hookshot, that may put him right ahead of the game if he finds something, because Load is going up Death Mountain, doesn't have the hookshot, so that's gonna limit things quite a bit, as you said.
Yeah, and indeed, there's nothing here on Spectral Rock, just a red rupee sitting inside, so Dsitt's gonna carry on. Load's gonna... Oh, hang on. Spike Cave. You can do Spike Cave right now, too.
That's right, you could, but Load isn't thinking of that. Interesting though, because Spike Cave is often one that can be overlooked until you actually actively think of it, so it's not too surprising.
Yeah, it's a terrible location as well. It takes forever, and Load would have to burn a magic bar on it, basically, to get in there with the cave. pulling out the hammer. He's gonna look to be heading towards South Dark World. So this probably would be heading over to Pod now. I'm trying to think of anything else that's available here. Coming up with a blank. But Dsitt on East Death Mountain now, getting nothing useful out of the first couple chests in Paradox Cave, but there's lots of that remaining.
Yeah, because we're still waiting on the hammer. Swamp having 6 items in it, but being locked out of it is kind of an unfortunate thing there.
Yeah, and here comes the top. Well, oh, there's the mirror in Paradox Cave, so that opens up a ton of stuff and is the only other way to this area of Death Mountain, so you definitely need this hookshot. Nothing else in here, but Load's gonna be heading to Pod and getting this hookshot soon as well, so that'll be good. I'll have that save point on Death Mountain to use. Dsitt's gonna try to bomb jump across to get to the top a little bit faster, but messes up the position. See if he goes for it again. Yeah, he's gonna go for it again. It's still faster to get this second try than to go around, so try to set up once more.
Absolutely, yeah. Get the hook shot, cave out of the way, go do a turtle rock check. Hey, why not? That's worth the bomb jump.
Yep. You can even do Hera if you want now. It's a pendant, but I mean, it's got 2 items in it, and we have the book, so I'm heading over there for at least Ether Tablet. Makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, and even if they do full clear Hera, there's 2 items in it. It's not that slow. Yeah, it's not that big of a time loss, so it's a wise move.
Yeah, now here's another really interesting point. We're gonna find out in a second what the Turtle Rock medallion is. And Dsitt comes up here without the Fire Rod. And Turtle Rock's quick, so Load will actually be able to full clear Turtle Rock when they get to Death Mountain with that hookshot. Unless, no wait, Quake was in Hammer Pigs. They don't have it. Oh my gosh.
Interesting. So yeah, all Dsitt has to do is hop into Ice Palace to get that Fire Rod, and then it is very possible we could have an early Turtle Rock. This is getting interesting by the minute.
Yeah, they're both missing one, but they both have all but one of the items that they need to do Turtle Rock. Dsitt missing that Fire Rod from Ice Palace, Load missing Quake from Hammer Pegs, and they're probably both going to check Death Mountain. You know, just have to turn around and Turtle Rock. Dsitt checks Super Money Cave, not much of anything in there. Load's grabbing that hookshot out of Pod now. And yeah, nothing else to do here, so he's going to save and quit. And I imagine this is back to Death Mountain right now.
I would imagine, yeah, probably a little frustrated on that one with some frustration slashes, but at least it's set the waypoint, and it's not too much of a time loss to get back there.
Yep. Dsitt working through Hookshot Cave. It's just 10 arrows in the first chest. There's the final sword, the Butter Sword, so we are ready to beat the crap out of some bosses. Getting 300 rupees as well, and a blue rupee. So you won't say no to the Butter Sword, but no more progression up here. Of course, having the mirror, we still have Hera, Ether Tablet, and eventually Spiral Cave or Spike Cave, which would be one of the last checks up here.
Yeah, we all know that these enemies are very weak to cholesterol, including bosses, so Butter Sword, great find.
Yeah, Moldorm's trying to watch its weight. Dsitt's gonna head over to the Ether Tablet now. Oh my gosh, I just realized as well. Hera could potentially be fire locked, and Dsitt's still not having a fire source because they have to go to ice. There's the last medallion, so no worries about what fire is on Dsitt's side anymore.
Absolutely. Oh, you're right. You're right. Hopefully it won't have to do basement, but let's take a seat. Let's take a look see, shall we?
Yeah, and this might be a blessing in disguise as well, because Hera is a pendant here. Oh, wow, there's the flute sitting in Hera, so at least coming in here for that was really important.
That's really got to wet his whistle for what the rest of the run is going to hold for him. Nice find for Dsitt.
Yeah, we'll be going to this next chest. If it's a small key, he can't continue, but it's the big key, so he can.
And only one more item to find, too, in Tower of Hera, and there's a bigger chance that it's going to be located along the way, so let's see what happens.
Yeah, it'll also be interesting to see. Dsitt already has that Newstown pendant, and we have no idea what the pedestal is, so he could opt to finish Hera while he's up here, but if he thinks the pedestal is going to be nothing, then it makes more sense to just leave as soon as that second item is found. You might hope that you just have the item on Moldorm and you don't have to make the decision, but it's got to be something to think about.
You know, you have to admit too, if this does turn out to be a ped seed after all, the green pendant is in Skull Woods, and then just getting the red pendant Tower of Hera, it's some relatively quick dungeons to go through, so it's not as painful as it seems.
Yeah, that's true. And Dsitt has not found the second item yet, so Moldorm either has the item and the small key is locking itself in the basement, or Moldorm has the small key and Dsitt will be able to get it. But either way, this does mean that Dsitt will have 2 pendants and just that Skull Woods pendant remaining. Wow, see you later, Moldorm. 2 slashes from the butter, and that one's done.
The nicest Moldorm fight of the one. Oh, there we go. Basement is gonna be the second item.
Oh, that's annoying. Well, once again, it still could be a blessing in disguise for Dsitt because you won't have to go in there, and probably will not come back to there for forever.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Dsitt's gonna want to go back in there for a while, so if there is actually some kind of progression item in there, it may be a while before he goes back to even think about that.
Alright, so Lo just finished up Spiral Cave, which was just some bombs, taking a different route through Death Mountain than Dsitt did, but I'm not sure if Load will actually go back to Hera, which could be significant. Load didn't go into Thieves Town at all, remember, so... And they did go over to the Ether Tablet already, so I'm interested to see what this is. Dsitt's finishing up the Spike Cave now, which is going to be just 50 rupees, so neither of the 2 annoying locations on Death Mountain, Spiral or Spike, were actually useful.
And like I always say, peace of mind is always a nice item to have, so at least you're not having to forget Spike Cave later on. Good good call on that anyway.
So Dsitt's going to go activate that flute straight away, which makes a lot of sense. And then we've got an interesting decision ahead of us, because Mire is completable now, but Mire's Dark Rooms are widely considered to be the most annoying of the Dark Rooms. So depending on how comfortable Dsitt is with doing that, we might see Mire, or we might see some other checks trying to find that lamp, which is, you know, taunting with how close it is to Mire sitting in the desert, but we'll have to go to Ice first. Now, Ice might look a lot better now with more health, Butter Sword, Hookshot. That could be a good play.
Absolutely. I mean, there's lots of good plays to do. Like you said, the Mire one is probably not one I would make because I personally hate Dark Rooms. What would you do in this situation?
Personally, either Mire or Ice. I probably would just do Mire myself because the Dark Room, once you practiced it, is not terrible, and Ice Palace just takes forever when you're on go mode, so I would try to avoid that at all costs. Dsitt's at least going to dip into the Mire area, get a few checks out of the way here, and then we'll see what the next play is after that.
Nothing wrong with that. And getting his shield, so I think we had a shield...
Yeah, it's on the desert ledge, it's right below this.
Well, that fire shield's looking a little more viable now, ain't it?
Yeah, I would probably get it if well, he's already fought blind, so maybe not, but it is right there. Dsitt's gonna check Checkerboard Cave, just a piece of heart, and we'll save and quit. So just wanted to get the Mire area out of the way, and is not willing to dip into Mire without having that lamp. So Load's now made their way back to Hera, so gets that flute. That's pretty important, and we'll probably be carrying on. Now the interesting thing is Load, if they want, we'll be able to check the basement and for that last item after killing Moldorm. We'll have to see what the play is on that.
Yeah, that could be a huge advantage on Load's part. So again, the fun of Rando, you never know what's going to happen. I've seen it time and time again, and I'm sure you have.
Yeah, exactly. Dsitt's heading back towards this portal in the Village of Outcasts area, and not even going in. This is straight up going to read the pedestal.
Are we getting a blind pedestal today? This is gonna be pretty sweet. Oh wait, oh we are getting a pedestal check. Never mind. I totally forgot Dsitt didn't have the fire rod for a second.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, yeah, why is he doing this? Why doesn't he just do Skull Woods but no fire rods? He just wants to know. And we're gonna find out soon if this is a pedestal seed or not. Is the bow up here or something? Nope.
Dead head, Fred.
Full heart.
Sorry, chat, the Out for Blood was in vain, but we still love you.
We lived the dream for a little while. Okay, so Dsitt heading to 4. Looks like this might be ice. And that is going to be... Or no, hammer. Swamp. Oh yeah, swamp's open. That makes way more sense than ice. Holy smokes.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you have 6 items. You don't need the big key to clear it out. And you can always warp out. You can always do the thing where you beat Argus and then warp out and go check left side if you need to as well. So that's not a bad play.
Yeah, with this many things open, we might see a complete left side skip as well. Depends how much Dsitt wants to risk potentially leaving an item behind in Swamp, or if he wants to be thorough. If he wants to be thorough, then going left side first is generally going to be faster. But you can always, of course, go to Argus and then count the items. If there's only 1 or potentially 0 items left on the left side, you don't go back for them. If there's 2, maybe you go back. So we'll see what Dsitt does here, but it'll be a while because Swamp takes quite some time. So we'll be walking through some water soon. And what's Load going to do? We are going back into that hair basement. So if this is the bow, then that's like almost basically game over.
Oh man, yeah, because you really do want that bow. This is something to really get hype about. We may not have pet, but boy, do we have something good here coming up. And Load taking a coffee break out of anticipation here.
Yeah, so it is that bow that's the critical item still waiting for runners. Dsitt needs to find the Fire Rod in Ice Palace, and then, I mean, we'll find the lamp on Land Mola soon after that. But that bow is the main thing missing from the puzzle, and it can't be in Pod anymore. Pod's bull-locked. There's nothing else to do in there, by the logic. So, it's either going to be deeper in ice, in Swamp here, in this chest that Load's about to check, or, you know, maybe in Mire, maybe in Turtle Rock. I guess it could be almost anywhere, but hey, that's what we're looking for.
Well, we gotta look. Okay, basement hype. Shovel.
Oh, it's the shovel. The suspense continues.
Indeed, fetch quest. Well, that's always fun. To be continued.
Well, Load's not gonna check right away from the looks of things. It's gonna use Sank instead, activate that flute. This could still be actually pretty fast shovel check, but I'm going to activate the flute first.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Load just got that out of the way anyway, because I mean, even if you have to do all that and you get the bow out of this anyway, that's even more time Dsitt is going to be having to sit on it, go back to do it, and then get it. So really going to be hating those fetch quests.
Yeah.
And I found out Dsitt does not like those fetch quests, so that's really going to be a hair terror outer.
That's for sure. So Dsitt did opt for the route where you just go straight to Argus, get more items this way more quickly, and you potentially enable yourself to skip left side, which is a pretty common gamble that you see. Like, left side takes so long to do in Swamp, and the chance that it burns you is not super high.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if it were me, I would check it just because of the item density alone, just in the whole dungeon. Because I like to full clear dungeons before just doing that, so.
Yeah, now unfortunately I didn't see every item. And Dsitt may or may not menu, so we might not see the dungeon items, but there was all 3 items in the back part here so far were items. There is the potential, maybe, for that map and compass to be sitting on the left side. Dsitt won't even have to go back for it.
Yeah, I don't think it was a whole heck of a lot, to be honest.
Alright, so what is Load up to now? Is this a dip into Mire here? Looks like it. Ether being the medallion to get into Mire. So they will get a look in here. This is not a bad play at all because they have a lamp, so this dungeon is way easier, and you have to look for the big key to finish Mire anyways, so even if you are in go mode, Mire can still take just as long as checking all the chests potentially. So good play for Load, making some crystal progress, maybe finding the bow along the way.
Yeah, Mire has 2 items as well, so we really need to find that and the big key, and then that's pretty much it. This could end on a quick note.
The one thing that's really going to be a thorn, I think, in Lode's side is that Quake Medallion sitting at Hammer Pegs. It's not the greatest location to go back to now. You'd rather be doing dungeons, I think, at this point in the game, so they may be doing dungeons for a while. Now, Dsitt is going to hop back into Swamp here, so there is at least one item left behind, I believe, is what that means. And we'll be thorough in clearing it out. It was kind of just hoping for the Dream Swamp where you get everything before Argus, but...
Yeah, with 6 items, that's a little tricky. The numbers aren't on your side on that one.
Yeah, it's very, very unlikely that you get that in a range.
But at least once he finds the last item, he can just like warp right out and be done with it.
Yeah, exactly. Looks like just keys so far in Mire.
Not bad, but having to check vanilla big key location is kind of annoying.
It is. Unfortunately, they have powder. There's a lot of anti-fairies in both Mire and Turtle Rock, which makes up kind of for how hard the dungeons are. If you do get lucky enough to have that, because you can heal constantly throughout the dungeons, which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Loads out of magic. Uh-oh.
Oh man, that is
there's
not
a full one down here, though. Okay.
Yes, thankfully, but not going to be wanting to use that willy-nilly. I would expect him to just use the lantern there for myself now to conserve the magic. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, just in case you miss a shot on the other part of this fire area with the big key chest puzzle, I guess to say. There's the big key sitting there on the left side, but it's still going to be looking through these chests because the bow could be here.
Oh, where has our little bow gone? But yeah, once we get that bow, pretty much the only other thing you're going to be hoping for once that hits are silver arrows, just for a bit of an easier Ganon fight. I mean, granted, they both have the butter sword down, so it's not going to be that big of a deal necessarily, but it's something that's really nice to have for Ganon.
Yeah, that's true.
And Big Key gonna have to slink back to the middle room there.
Yeah, so Dsitt being thorough, clearing up Swamp. Load, getting another key here over on the left side of Mire, and be looking still for some more items. Hasn't found the map and compass yet, so there's still, a lot of nothing to get out of Mire, but you just need that one item. And well, I mean, Load and Dsitt will still be searching for a while because they need more that we know where it is, but they don't yet.
And disappointment in the chest.
Alright, so Dsitt's cleared out Swamp completely. Next play might be Ice Palace. Looks like a check on the Bombos tablet first. I guess we also have not seen the South Grove Cave. We had the mirror up on Death Mountain. So these Light World, or Lower Dark World mirror checks are still what's missing. And that bow could be anywhere.
Yeah, not a bad idea to get these out of the way too. I don't think either of them checked K45. I don't think they have.
No, neither had the mirror when going through there before. Dsitt might be in position to do that right now though, so he's dashing back to this portal. Could take it over, yeah, back to the mirror. I'm sure that's exactly where he's going to go. Looks like the last item in Mire is on Vitreous for Load.
Oh, that's a fun one. There's lots of different strats I could still use, thankfully, but I always just like having bow and silver arrows for that fight because then it's just, I call it clear eyes. Go so fast, you go wow.
Yeah, that makes it a lot easier. Having the cape and the butter sword means that they can just cape dash through, which might be they opt for. We'll have to see when they get there. We do get that South Grove checked now. Dsitt just finding a full heart there and just passes it up, says 10 hearts and blue mail. That's enough for me.
Yeah, Dsitt probably feeling pretty confident about how things are going so far, so don't blame him.
Yeah, and now heading back up to Village of Outcasts. Because, wait, what is left here? Dsitt already did the chest, I think. Could be, doing North Dark World now.
Not a bad idea. Graveyard Lich is another one of those oft-forgotten areas, so good place to check for the bow.
Yeah, if either runner finds the bow in one of these like kind of awful one-offs that they're doing, then that's just going to be just a huge advantage. But it's still going to be an interesting race because they have so much still to find that the other player has found already. Dsitt's going to take a look at Graveyard Ledge here, getting all the mirror spots out of the way now. And what is going to be in here? Is it going to be disappointment, or is it going to be some surprise archery?
Disappointment. But you know what isn't disappointing? The way these runners have been playing for us. They have been doing awesome. So if you haven't already, you've been enjoying them like we have, and please give them a follow. Give our racers a follow. They have been doing great for us, especially with that nicely done Vitreous fight there by Load. Good job.
Yep, tearing up Vitreous with that butter sword just makes that fight so much faster with those slashes. Tons of damage, but nothing good there, just a big 20. And Dsitt is making that play onto Ice Palace, which we know will lead to the Fire Rod. So that's going to be pretty darn good for him. And we still know there's one more item waiting here. So what will Dsitt find?
You're getting warmer, Dsitt. You're getting warmer.
Now, here's the funny thing. Back at the start of this seed, we were like, oh, two 5/6 crystals in light row. We're going to see an early pyramid first. But now, the bow is going to be the final, at least, no-mode item. So it's not so likely that we actually get to see it.
Yeah, because we know bow is not going to be there, so...
Exactly. Load probably making a play on Swamp now.
Hello,
Dsitt
Mr.
picks up
Fire
that
Rod.
Fire Rod.
And forgetting to drain the water, but not the worst of mistakes. I think Lowe's doing pretty all right though.
Yeah, everybody does that once in a while. It's like, oh, right, of course. As long as you don't flood the key or something. You know, everything else is just small details.
Absolutely. Then that's a time to do anger slashes or anger pulls. I like the pulls myself. I don't know about you, but
They're pretty good. That's the go-to during Aghanim fights. So Dsitt's coming up towards the Ice Palace bomb jump right now, and one note as well is having the Kina Samaria, it's just barely faster, I think, bomb jump. Or, well, it can be very much faster if you end up in go mode during your Ice Palace, which the bow would put Dsitt in go mode. So it's also going to go for this bomb jump, trying to set up the position. Has X, looking for Y, gets it, and is now nicely able to just hookshot over this firebar, because it was not in a great position for Bonk.
yeah, Ice Palace is just sort of one of those things where if I do have to full clear it, I'd rather beat Cold Stare first and then go back into it, just so I don't have to go all the way through. I think it saves a little bit of time. Does that sound about right?
It can depend, you know, on your luck. Like, if Cold Stare actually has an item, and skip, like, going to Ice Tea, then it's amazing, but man, it sucks to walk back into Ice Palace. So this is now the part where Load couldn't pull off this bomb jump here, so we're going to get some new checks in Ice out of Dsitt on this right side of the dungeon, and, you know, as always, with any chest, if the bow shows up in it, it's going to be huge.
Nice ice hype, let's go.
Man, I'm looking forward to these. They're probably just going to be like map and big key or something like that. But
If I could do a drum roll without being really annoying, I would. And bug catching net,
it's over.
Disappointment.
Yeah. The other item in Ice is, I believe, in the freezer chest, and it was a big 20. So Ice does not have the bow. Dsitt will still be checking at least until the point of finding that big 20. But the good news is, you don't have to go to Ice Tea Room in this Ice Palace because, you know, he bomb jumped, and I believe that chest, either this chest coming up right now or that Ice Tea chest is going to be the big key. Okay, so this is the big key, and yeah, it won't have to go to Ice Tea because it'll be the third item in this next room.
Yeah, true, so pretty much dungeon go mode time anyway.
Yeah. Load also opting to be thorough and Swamp is going to get this left side of the way, so, you know, when it's basically game losing if you skip this and there is something there, so that's why these players are just being thorough, checking it, making sure. And there were 2 items over there even, so definitely not bad to see.
Absolutely, and the big key was in that last chest over on left side, so Load can just go over the middle room and just grab that chest on the way to Argus.
Yeah, so that'll be a little bit more efficient overall, but you know, at this point, like, I can't even tell who's in a better position. Like, both players have a little edge on each other, and it's just that first person to find the bow is just going to be in business, basically.
Pretty much, that's what it's boiling down to, and I know in my own personal experience, the bow has been my very trolly item, so it's going to be interesting to see how much they're going to be having to look around everywhere for it.
Dsitt on this Cold Stare fight now has got good damage on the eyes, but is pretty low health, just 2 left, but this last one probably needs maybe 1 more slash. And it's just going to play it safe, use the cape. I like this decision because, you know, if you just somehow get bodied by the eye and die, you lose 1,000,000 years. Pulling out that cape loses you just a couple seconds on the menu, so not bad at all. Gets that key from Cold Stare, and is going to be done with that. With that fire source, has Desert as a prominent option, as well as Turtle Rock. Now, Desert would be a good play because we know it leads to the lamp, and Turtle Rock, I'm feeling at this point, is got to be the bow location.
I'm thinking so too. I think we're going to be having some laser bridge hype if Turtle Rock is any indication.
Yeah, Dsitt now taking this moment to go buy some potions. Not a bad call. We'll be able to fill up with 3 blue potions, and that basically just makes you safe for the rest of the season. The health count is not the highest, and no half magic, so not bad at all. And that'll be good for, you know, Trinex or Vitreous or, you know, Ganon's Tower. So Dsitt flutes away and is gonna make that play on Turtle Rock right now. So this is interesting because, you know, they'll miss the lamp in Desert, but the Turtle Rock Dark Room is, you know, if you know the path through it, is not nearly as bad as the Mire one.
Absolutely, yeah, because it's one of those things too where if you're going to full clear it, it's pretty much roughly around the same time. So if they do have to spend a lot of time hunting for the bow, it's not truly going to be a whole lot of time loss.
Yeah, and Dsitt, of course, is already open to Turtle Rock, so he's going to opt to not deal with Bedrocks and just head up through Death Mountain and Dark World. This is, I think, just barely slower if you don't get blocked by a dead rock, but as soon as you get blocked by a dead rock, then this is faster.
And we all know that those dead rocks like to block, so it's a good safe option.
So what do you think? Load's finishing off Argus now. Now, what's the next play for Load going to be? Eastern and Pod have no progression available. Turtle Rock is still locked because Quake is sitting in those hammer pegs. Could be a revisit to Ice Palace, knowing that there's 1 item left there, or it could be a dip into some of the pendant dungeons. We haven't seen Skull Woods from either player, and Load has not gone into Thieves Town at all, so I'm interested to see what they do here.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Ice Palace might be Load's play, but could very well go up to Turtle Rock or do something else entirely. But I'm starting to feel like Ice Palace is going to be the play here with the way Load is going.
Yeah, that looks to be it, and that's a good play. You know, get a crystal out of the way, maybe get an item, and you have to do ice eventually. So let's just do it now.
Yeah, and I would imagine too that 1 missing item in Ice Palace for Load has got to be on the back of his mind.
Yep, Dsitt going through the fire lighting part of Turtle Rock now, and gets those torches, gets the hook shot off the platform, and is going to check these 2 chests over on the right side. Turtle Rock's a pretty dense dungeon with 5 items inside it and an additional item available in the cave, so looking for something potentially here, and there it is, there's the bow!
Looking for something potentially here, huh?
Yeah, well, so this is kind of go mode for Dsitt. Go mode if he's comfortable without the lamp for the rest of the scene, basically. Now, lucky for him, he will get the lamp before Ganon's Tower, guaranteed, on Land Molas. But to see how much more he checks, potentially looking for silvers.
Yeah, the other thing is, too, I think he's going to have to do that platform maze with the Cane of Sumerian completely in the dark. So hopefully he's got that down and memorized.
Yeah, exactly. Like that room is relatively easy if you've practiced it, but if you have to improvise it, it's, I think, just nearly impossible. So we'll have to see how it goes. Dsitt maybe still hoping for the lamp before then, but came up here rather than going to desert. So I have to think that indicates some degree of confidence in doing this dark room.
I think so too. I think my worry is that one wrong move and you could easily get lost.
Yeah, and then it's just all over. But even if Dsitt does have to improvise this dark room, he has 2 blue potions, and you can eventually figure it out by the fire bars rather. So we'll see.
Absolutely, and we had another Bomberman appearance. This scene really has been bombastic to start out with. I like it.
That's so true.
And I think we had a vanilla big key check. Not too much. Good use of the powder right there, though, to heal some up.
Yeah, you want to be at full health going down to the bottom of Turtle Rock. And that is just like the best place. Just powder multiple anti-fairies at once, get them on freeway. It's really nice. Here comes Load. Now, with the hook shot, able to traverse this room easily. Dsitt fire rods those pokies to death, and it's going to be heading outside. Gotta look at this big key chest because he went for the vanilla big key chest. Needs to. If there's a key in here and he skips it, it's going to be fatal. And of course, probably still does want that lamp, potentially silver. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a check on the cable is out here as well.
It is right here. Not really that out of the way. Why not? And Load going to pick up the last item anticipated of Hello Bug Catching Net. Nope, sorry.
There's a slash. Now remember that. Okay, yeah. Load now realizes that those are all dungeon items. Just kind of fighting muscle memory to just continue checking that part. But it's sometimes hard to keep count of how many items there were in a dungeon when you leave it and come back. But Load doing a good job of that. Is just gonna check this chest because, well, I mean, it takes 2 seconds. It takes 1 second.
Yeah, it's on your way. Could have silver. Well, no, couldn't have silvers, but could be something. Why not?
Yeah, so Load will knock the end of Ice Palace out. Dsitt making that good progress into Turtle Rock, and then, oh man, what does Load do next? Because needs Quake before going to Turtle Rock, and we know Turtle Rock's the play now. But do you really go to Hammer Pegs, or do you start looking into those pendant dungeons?
I would imagine maybe we'd see an overworld check or two, but I feel like Load would be more chopping at the bit to get into dungeons, especially with the bow still in play and could be anywhere for him in his mind at the moment. So that's probably something that's weighing on his mind, to just get into those dungeons.
All right, Dsitt knows exactly what he's doing in this Turtle Rock Dark Room. That was no slower than doing it in the light, so that was perfect. He knew exactly which directions to hold, and will be able to now get down to Laser Bridge. Needs a small key for this door, and also potentially wants some silvers. We know the lamp can't be here, but silvers would be pretty nice. Isn't on the best of health, and doesn't really want to waste a potion here, so it's going to take the safety door, just in case the lasers, or something weird happens on Trinex, takes death. You don't go all the way back.
Yeah, having to run back to get to Trinex is really annoying, so that's a good waypoint to send. There's our key. And Dsitt eating a death there. Still seems like he wants to check for the errors, though, so don't blame him that much.
Yeah, and that was just kind of like I took the save, let's just be aggressive with this. Run in there, basically. Looks like he has had enough of dying though. He's gonna use a blue potion on this and then, yeah, keep the last 2 chests. So having still a green potion and another blue available, no problem here. Now here's Load. Looks like it's time for Pendant Dungeons, and looks like it's going to be Skullwoods, which does not have the bow. We haven't seen it checked at all. We don't know what's in here. At best, silvers, but this is going to be a pretty big time loss, and I think now Dsitt is going to be in a great position in this race.
I think so too, yeah, because now with the bow, just got to do that Eastern Pod combo, and then Desert, and then that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah. I can't imagine that Dsitt will actually, want to search too far out of the way for silvers. It'll just be like, you'll check some extra chests that are convenient, and of course we'll have to check some stuff in pod because we don't have the big key for it yet. But, that's about it. Gold Sword makes quick work of the Firehead and Trinex. Has to wait for a bit there because the boss is exploding. You can't menu when the boss is exploding. So, gets that Ice Head down. We're setting up for spin and a couple slashes on this last head. Load, getting through some skull action. Is going to get a look at the pedestal as well and find out it is just health.
And a very, very easy Trinex fight for Dsitt.
Yeah, it was really good. Got the double hit on the spin and 1 slash to the head before it even switches into the the mode where the middle is vulnerable, but it's supposed to be in here. Gets that crystal. Now, basically pod, Eastern, Desert, and that's going to be that. Now, Desert would probably be best because then you don't have to deal with their rooms in pod, which are not too bad with the Fire Rod to light up the basement, but definitely always easier when you can see what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we're going to be seeing that now.
Hold on. What's going on? What is going on here? What dungeon is Dsitt doing?
Maybe are we doing a fast check in the Skull Woods?
I have to wonder. Maybe Dsitt mismarked from the map check and thinks that Skull is a crystal.
Could very well be. I mean, that's happened before, I've seen, so, and if nothing else, it wouldn't be that bad of a mistake to rectify. So, Cane of Burna there's Moldor Mothiel item, excuse me.
Yes, we get the other walking stick. Looks like Dsitt is gonna do this. I'm trying to think.
If I had to guess, it could easily be a mismarking. That's the thing I could think of, unless Dsitt has a hunch.
Now he's actually going down here to check this item as well, so he's still potentially looking for the lamp, I have to guess.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Interesting. So maybe Dsitt also doesn't know that there's still an item in Desert. It can be really tough to remember item counts in dungeons after you've left them once. It's kind of like, if he thinks that Desert has nothing in it, then all of this makes perfect sense because, you can just go do Landmo at the end. It's whatever. Maybe you'll have silvers by then and it's easier to one-cycle it. But Dsitt's going to be doing Skull, or, also could not realize this is a pendant, and the music in the dungeon does tell you what it is, but when you're in a tournament and you got all this nerves on your mind, oh my gosh, where's my opponent? I wasted time here. It's they're probably ahead of me. All this stuff, you can easily miss small details like that. And Dsitt gets grabbed by the Wall Master there. That's pretty annoying.
Yeah, those Wall Masters are not very good at giving people hand most of the time, so definitely a bummer at this stage in the dungeon.
Yeah, and also has to farm magic because he doesn't have the lamp to actually make lighting up this next room cheap. So can't do the fast strat where you Fire Rod to get those out of your way. It's just gonna kill them. Fortunately, the Butter Sword is amazing and kills them in 2 hits.
Yeah, if that's the one thing you're gonna have if you're not using Fire Rod, that's the thing you're gonna want for those Gibdos.
Alright, so Load is finished up with Skull. Didn't find anything, just Cane of Burna and a big 20 were the items there. And is now going to be going for some overworld checks. Dsitt did this earlier, checking Graveyard Ledge. And this can easily lead for Load into a trip back to Village of Outcasts and down to Hammer Pegs, which is where that Go mode, well, it's not Go mode, where the Quake Medallion is waiting, which leads to the bow.
Absolutely, could be. I gotta wonder what's on his mind at this point too, because might be feeling behind here. I think that could be true of either player as well. So it's perfectly a valid thought on their mind for any of them.
Yeah, this is definitely a seed where easily both players would feel behind because they've both done pendants for nothing. They both done some checks for nothing. Like they both had some issues here and there that may have slowed them down. So they can both be really feeling the pressure here. This Load, has gone through a bunch of dungeons and is now going back to Overworld. Dsitt gets that Skullwoods pendant and he's gonna check the big chest now. So I have to imagine this is just a search for the lamp.
I would imagine so too, but as we know, Desert is the appropriate play on this one, so I think he's probably going to be a little frustrated when he beats Lamolus.
Yeah, I have to just hope he goes there next. Load is going to be, in a good position fairly soon here, because this is a trip to Hammer Pegs, and Hammer Pegs is going to lead Load right to Death Mountain up to get into Turtle Rock, and that will be really good. Remember, Load has finished Mire, which Dsitt is going to have to go all the way through, so this time spent on Skull Woods, maybe not the best for Dsitt, but yeah, how does it stack up? It's like Desert plus Mire up against Turtle Rock being already completed at this point. Both players will have to climb Death Mountain again because, Pod and Eastern will be the last dungeons to complete, and looks like Dsitt is gonna hit Pod Eastern right now. So I imagine this is just I don't want to do the Mire nerd, basically.
Yeah, I totally forgot that he hadn't done Mire yet, so that's actually a really valid point.
Now, I hope for Dsitt's sake, because it does look like Load is in a pretty good position now. I hope for Dsitt's sake that this is I'm gonna check convenience stuff, but I'm not gonna maybe full clear Pod. If he full clears Pod, then I think Load has just pretty much got this. They might still have to full clear just to find the big key, but any checks that Dsitt does extra at this point, looking for that lamp, is just extra time for Load, and maybe an advantage entering GT.
Exactly. That's another one thing I always say in Rando, that it ain't over till the Fat Fairy sings. So this is another one of those situations where that's definitely true. So Load could very well catch up at this point.
Yeah. Another case for really wanting the lamp in this seed is, oh my gosh, that Dead Rock. Holy smokes.
What did I tell you about Dead Rocks? Oh my goodness.
Wow, now it's still in the way. Oh my goodness, that was an experience. But yeah, so another case for wanting the lamp in the scene is that they do not have silvers. So Torch Glitch in the Ganon fight is actually pretty important for speeding things up, because it's very difficult to get multiple spins in when you have to light the torches manually. And having the Fire Rod and no half magic, it can be really, really annoying. So, silvers or lamp kind of trivializes that, but 12 spins with having to get the Torch Glitch with the Fire Rod can be pretty annoying. Now, we know that they won't have to do that. It's just a question of when is Dsitt gonna get back and do Desert to get that lamp, and then know that, everything's fine from here on out.
Yeah, because, doing... I can't see what's going on. Oh yeah, because doing Eastern instead of finishing up Pod there is kind of a interesting choice as well, because it's usually most people go into Pod and then Eastern, so interesting train of thought there.
Yeah, this makes sense if you think that maybe there's still an item on Armos. In this case, there isn't. Eastern is clear. We saw all the items, but if there is an item on Armos and Well, I guess it can't be the lamp. So, never mind.
Oh, it could. If there is, we still have silvers in play, but I think we found all the Eastern items beforehand.
Yeah, it's empty.
Could be. Well, we will have that chance afterwards to check the FAF area, I believe. And Load gets the bow now. Must be happy.
Yeah, give that just a few slashes just to let it know who's boss. Dsitt tearing apart these Armos Knights. And we'll be able to go into pod now. This Load has entered go mode. Aside from maybe possibly sort of wanting the silvers, but that will probably not be too many extra checks aside from some very convenient checks.
No, I can't imagine that, so... And Dsitt definitely getting frustrated at this point. And going... Is he just giving up and going into Mire at this point, or...?
Well, this could also just be like, I hate their rooms in pod as well, so I don't want to do them. And this is a mirror to desert, so this is exactly what Dsitt needs to do. Because this is going to be lamp, and then he's going to be in full go mode and ready to tear through these dungeons. But at this point, man, we're gonna have to see, like, once they're in pod together, that's when there's gonna be sync. But it does look like maybe Load has an advantage. Eastern's pretty fast. Dsitt has to go all the way through Mire, and Load's halfway through Turtle Rock, so this race is kind of coming down to the wire now.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too, that Dsitt knows that it has to do Mire anyway. So just going back and doing desert and then Mire is not a bad idea on its own. I didn't quite think of it that way.
So an interesting thing here will be if Load decides to skip the big key chest here. And it looks like they are going to go to it. Now, you can gamble. It's a little bit crazy, but you can see some people will make this play where they just skip the big key chest because it saves about 30 seconds in this, like, kind of going around and outside, with the small risk that when a key shows up in both the big key chest and the vanilla big key chest, that you just have to come back to get one. In this case, the gamble would have worked, but knew that from Dsitt's passive Turtle Rock, so Load's doing the more conservative play that you see almost all the time from everybody, where you just make sure that you don't get locked outside of the last door in TR.
And meanwhile, Dsitt getting his lamp finally and dropping some bombs that I believe had a certain letter on them, but I'm not sure which.
Now the funny thing is, Dsitt only has 3 bombs left, and you do need a couple more bombs for the rest of the game, but I mean, it should be fine.
Yeah,
runs out of bombs at the top of GT, that'd just be terrible, but there's some in pods. It's all good.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to be running out of bombs anytime soon here, so there's nothing to worry about.
Hey, the stun prize is bombs too, so good.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I wonder if either of them knows and or remembers this.
It's a kind of trivial detail at this point, but Dsitt entering Mire now as Load coming towards the last little bit of Turtle Rock. Doesn't even necessarily have to do Laser Bridge, and is gonna skip Laser Bridge. The only thing that could be useful there is silvers, and it's pretty big time investment for something that's probably not there. Probably less than a 10% chance that silvers are waiting for you on Laser Bridge, so Load will just carry on, go a little bit faster, grab this full engine for Trinex, and get onto that house fibers. Dsitt needs to find this big key. Now the good news is the big key is north of the vanilla big key location, so you don't have to sit through the cutscene for it.
Yeah, thank goodness. That's a good part. Mire's either short or long depending on where that big key is, so I think he's just gonna get it and go. It's just nice to be able to do for Mire. Make up some time if he feels like he's behind.
Yeah. It's not the best Mire. The best Mire has the big key in either the first or second chest you check in the previous room or this room that Dsitt's in right now, but it's close. You don't have to watch that cutscene. I'll be happy about that. Load making good work on Trinex there, killing it before it managed to get off the wall, so that Butter Sword, really good for this fight. And now Load just has to go pod Eastern. Dsitt just pod and the end of Mire left.
Load, I think, feeling pretty good. What was slashing along to the music, so that's a good sign here.
Alright, so there's loads of mirror out of Turtle Rock. You can actually just mirror from the directly where you walk out of that dungeon. It puts you on the ladder. You don't bonk on the rock, but you know, when you don't know all of the mirror spots potentially, it's just safe to, you know, make sure you don't mirror bonk. That loses you a lot of time. So Dsitt lighting all the torches, and we'll get the big key right here, and then just be able to walk to the end of the dungeon. So it takes the right door, doesn't have to go down. And we'll be going to that Vitreous fight soon. So, jeez, oh, this is gonna be close.
Excitement! And of course, you know, even though they're making their way through the dungeons and kind of going back and forth here, Ganon's Tower and Ganon himself are pretty good equalizers, so who can really say who's going to win this race at the moment either?
Yeah, we won't know, like, until the very end of this, who's going to be in a good position. Dsitt, pretty low on magic here, is probably going to go over and grab the full magic on the left. That is going to be the play. And get to the Mire basement. So Load into GT has to go to the right side here because we don't have a key. We know there's at least a key over here. The dream would be key, big key, and then you can just head straight to the boss from this side, but we might have to go looking for that big key, which could be in the back of Pod potentially.
That's true, because we haven't had either player really explore Pod yet because of the lack of bow, so that's so it's really curious to see whether they're going to be saving a lot of time or not.
Yep. Dsitt almost got the cane dash there to flip the switch, but ended up having to place another block. Not a big deal. Be bombing through that crystal switch now, and here comes Load. So small key's the first one.
Take out some lamp aggression.
Chances are this is another small key, but if it's big, then Load's gonna be happy.
No, that one's a little teeny.
All right, so here's an interesting little point. The vanilla big key chest at this point is a guaranteed small key because we've only found 3 keys in the front half, so it could be skipped in this situation. It can't possibly be useful, but you know, who keeps the key count from like when they entered Pod the first time? So Load's gonna check it, but it would be a potential time save to not go to this chest because it has to be a small key now to match the 4 minimum count of small keys in the front of Pod.
Yeah, unless you're doing key sanity, who's got time for that?
Exactly.
Oh, Dsitt. Oh, jeez, Dsitt.
Oh no, you got lightninged.
That's going to be a tough time loss. Yeah, at this point now with that death, Dsitt is going to be feeling really behind at this point.
Yeah, that's not a good feeling. And you know, opted for arrow strats mostly there on Vitreous, trying to get the eyeballs down. But in this case, without Silver, is using the cape and just dashing back and forth, or just slashing the eyes with the gold sword is more damage. But you know, like it's tough. You're on the fly, like in the middle of a race, the nerves piling up. Like you don't consider all your options all the time.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to make that worse. That has got to make it worse indeed. It might not be a bad idea for Dsitt anyway if he does have a free potion to, which he does, to maybe grab a quick insurance fairy on the way.
Yeah, that could be an option, but Dsitt, he's got no time for that. He's gonna carry on. Load's checking out the dark maze here. Hopefully the big key's in here. If not, the walk back out. Obviously it can't be in the big chest. This isn't one of those dungeons. And 4 chests actually left for Load to take a look at, with potential big key hiding spots.
25% chance coming up shortly.
Arrow upgrade.
So 33% chance. Oh no, 50% chance in this room. 66. See, this is why I have degree in English. Excuse me. There it is.
Load still needs a small key, which is guaranteed in this chest, so smartly checks it. It would have been a, big potential flub to just mirror immediately after the big key and be like, oh shoot.
Alright, well, Dsitt making his way back okay fairly quickly and opting for kind of burn a strats on these eyeballs here, which is definitely a good call. You don't want to take another death to Vitreous.
Yeah, and that takes them out pretty fast, just dashing back and forth. The gold sword's damage is so high that it just annihilates them. And then arrows on the main eye so that you don't have to deal with getting knocked away with your gold sword. Plus arrows do a ton of damage to Vitreous, so that's the big eye down. And that's the 6th crystal now for Dsitt. So he just has to get to pod. That death on Vitreous, probably, pretty painful given that Eastern is fast and Load already has that big key, which is pretty deep in pod, but there's still some potential for either player to take this one.
Absolutely, that depends on where the big key in Ganon's tower is, of course, and then how mean Ganon wants to be.
Yeah, that's the truth. Alright, Dsitt heading up through the Dark World now. Load sitting through this last little cutscene now. Dsitt as well could save some time, potentially, in pod, because Load did take a while to find the big key. Kind of hoped that it was in the Dark Maze, and it wasn't. So if Dsitt takes the kind of more conventional route, where you go Dark Maze last, since you would normally want to open the big chest, in this case they don't, because the pod big key is the last item they're looking for, then he'll find it a little bit faster than Load did.
The other good thing, too, is that even though Load is clearing pod, he still hasn't completed Eastern yet, so even though that's going to be a quick one, Dsitt may be able to catch up and go on to Ganon's tower fairly quickly.
Yeah, that's true. And, pod, Eastern's fast, but, we're in the same dungeon together right now. Pod's pretty long, but, man, this is gonna be something. This could easily be left side, right side gamble on GT. That's gonna be the difference maker. I want to see Dsitt get these 2 keys here and then go straight to the bag.
Yeah, I'm just kind of interested to see where this is gonna go to, because this is getting pretty close again. I had a close race last time. It's great to see another close race this time, because I love it when it boils down to execution.
Yeah, it's pretty intense, especially when you get these multi-dungeon go modes, it's kind of like, oh man. The route of this seed was pretty interesting. Both players doing different things for quite a long time. Having, one item up on the other for most of the seed until they entered go mode. So Dsitt, alright. Just bonk over and flip the switch. Don't go to the vanilla Vinky chest. Yes, dude. Okay, he's gonna go out down here to reset these beetles, but this is gonna be a time save based either on actually counting the keys and knowing that it has to be a small key in that chest, or just saying I want to gamble it. But in either way, it's a good decision, and he'll be getting this big key pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly, because especially with that veteran always going into the Dark Maze.
I mean, this is a fine choice. You take gambles, but unfortunately, it's the wrong one this time.
I was gonna say it would be a time saver, but nope. And that's the fun we as commentators get of knowing what's the better play, but they don't. So that's an eternal curse of the commentator life.
Yeah. So Load getting through Eastern now. Dsitt still in pod. Load's the rest of Eastern is definitely faster than the rest of pod for Dsitt. So Load will be first in GT, and Dsitt not gonna be too far behind him. Man, without that Vitreous death, this would have been insanely close. Because I thought that it was kind of this difference already, but man.
Well, it's still it's still very much of an anyone's person game, because we still got to find the Ganon's Tower big key, so that's going to be a fun little play along here pretty soon.
Yep. Dsitt's gonna, rather than mirroring back to the start of the dungeon, just head. Actually, never mind. He's gonna mirror back to the start of the dungeon. I thought he was just gonna head down through Harmless Hallway and then get to the end that way. But this is, it's pretty much the same distance either way. Maybe the switch was in his way. I can't remember. Anyways, Load's killing Armos Knights. Dsitt heading towards Helmsor right now. We'll basically know the difference between them as they finish their last dungeons. So Load grabs that crystal at 149.14 from Load thanks.
Indeed.
And with that, yeah, that's crystal number 7. You know what that means.
Oh, I know what that means. Chat, get ready, because there are 22 locations that the big key could be in Ganon's Tower. Chat, get your guesses in now. So what are they going to win if they are the first one correct, Sigma?
Well, anybody who has subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels or donated at least 250 bits will be entered in to have their name on the leaderboard if you manage to get your guess the closest. And Dsitt had to turn around for a sec there because actually it was out of arrows. Fortunately, there's some arrows under the pots in the previous room, so he's able to fill up, shoot the eye, Load, fills up on some potions, and is going to be heading up to GT now. So we're gonna play the guessing game ourselves as commentators, and I'll ask you, Craig, where do you think we're gonna see that GT big key?
Something tells me right side. It's something in my heart is telling me tile room. So that's what I'm just gonna go with at this point.
Oh man, going with the tile room guess. I'm gonna go a little ambiguous and say chest 6. Whether that's on the right or the left, who knows?
I like it. And I remember in my last stream too, Cyclone gave away an all expenses paid trip to Palace of Darkness to be eaten by turtles. And I'm kind of wondering where he got his prize pools at this point, because I don't want him giving out prizes in my streams anymore, so.
Yeah, don't worry. No turtle eating this time. Just leaderboard placement for you. So Dsitt hammering away at that helmet mask. Load's heading up Death Mountain. Yeah, looks like we're gonna be roughly 2 minutes apart from the boss kills of their final dungeons. So still close. Something that a Ganonfall or a different key route in GT can still decide, but Load with an advantage coming into Ganon's Tower now. So we're gonna see, where's this key gonna be?
I know what the key. Well, it might not be guaranteed, but I'm usually thinking the key is in some kind of chest.
A safe bet. Not entirely safe, but fairly safe.
Yeah, because I realized it could have thumbed its nose at me and be on the lamppost there, which is usually number 3 in traditional routing, if I'm not mistaken.
That's true. Go into this room on the right that's commonly called the Hope Room, because you hope that it's in here and you don't have to look any further. So what do we got? First chest, arrow upgrade. Second chest, small key. Now this would let Load go to the right immediately, but Load is going to take it left. And now this is the opportunity for Dsitt. If he goes to the right side with the small key that he finds on the right side, he'll be doomed, because here's the big key on Bob's torch. Number 3.
What did I mention? So yeah, if Dsitt decides to just go boldly left side first, will be greatly rewarded for his efforts. But this wasn't the kind of go around Ganon's Tower I was hoping, admittedly. But you know what? Hey, I'll take it. This is still an exciting race.
Yep, there's still all the execution to deal with in the later parts of the game, and runners not having silvers yet, I would expect to see them check the chests at the top of the gauntlet looking for them, because they save a lot of time. Even if you have the gold sword, they save a lot of time with phase 4 of Ganon, so runners will be looking for that. And yeah, Load's definitely sitting in a good position, but there's both things that both runners did throughout the seed and potentially make them really feel the pressure. All they know that their opponent is not done. That's the only knowledge that they have. They don't know where their opponent is, so it's easy for the nerves to shake you up and give you a hard time on this last execution heavy part of the game.
Yeah, at this point, especially where you're almost 2 hours in, you gotta imagine that your opponent is way ahead of you. Like, the paranoia can be really nerve-wracking on this one as to whether you've won or lost. But again, Fat Fairy sings.
Exactly. Now Load's heading up the gauntlet. Not very much health left here. And, oh man, Dsitt, yeah, he's gonna do the more standardized route in GT and clear right fully because he got a small key here, and then head to the left, which is, in this case, gonna lose time because that key is sitting on the torch, but he's going with this play, which, you know, is a perfectly acceptable play, but unfortunately is gonna make them race a little bit further apart. Now, Load, getting pretty low, might have to use a potion in the gauntlet here. He's holding on to it for now, though, being not at risk of dying in one hit to anything right now.
Yeah, but if not careful, you know, that could be all the chance that Dsitt needs to catch up. So that's, again, and now it just boils down to such the little things here that it's, this is what the races are all about, I think. This just the excitement, the pure excitement of it all.
Yeah, and right as Load gets down to half a heart, decides, you know, enough's enough, I'm going to use this potion. He's probably hoping to, you know, potentially just be able to powder the fairy here, but uses one blue. Did shop right before GT, so has several potions available, so you have the liberty of doing something like that. It's going to go for Fire Rod, Butter Sword action against the Landmos. Unfortunately gets hit by the rude fireball shooter from the corner, but the Butter Sword slashes 2-shot Landmos, so he's able to get some good damage in anyways and take them down with a 2-cycle.
Medusa's always rude, and Dsitt is thinking that key is rude. So, well, we've got a lot of rudeness going around altogether.
Yeah, so Dsitt coming up the climb of Ganon's Tower right now. Load making good progress through the gauntlet, going on to the second Wizrobe's room pretty soon. Load.
That second Wizrobe's room, when you hit it just like that, it looks beautiful, but it's a lot harder than it looks.
Yeah, that's a room you have to practice, I think, pretty much, if you're going to get it. If anybody's, like, winging that room, then they're amazing. Now, smart to note, Dsitt used the boomerang to flip the crystal switch in the previous room, which is really important because normally you do it with arrows to reduce menu time, but only had 4 arrows, which is just enough to kill the enemies here. And now, using the arrow pot in this room, only has 5 arrows, which means he can afford to miss 1 shot and still be able to complete this. And if he misses 2, then he's going to have to go back to the start. So he's being really careful setting these up. Actually takes a bit of a beating from the Beamos here. Has the Mimic set up pretty well now, just get knocked away by the fire. Here comes, okay, 2 arrows have connected. He only needs 1 arrow on each Mimic to finish this up. There goes 1 Mimic. The other one's hiding inside the Beamos. Gets it manipulated and gets it down.
Oh, if I wasn't sitting on the floor right now, I would have been on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, that was scary. That was scary.
I mean, I don't know what I'm watching now here with the excitement and, like, imagining the paranoia. Like, Link to the Past or Five Nights at Freddy's here. And still gonna be careful on Moldo, and that happened. So no Moldezuma's revenge for Load.
Yeah, Dsitt gonna take a moment here, get healed up a little bit, try to catch a fairy now. Because having to use that blue potion right at the start of the gauntlet, walking up through the gauntlet with 5 health, not so much fun. So, Load will be up to this Aga 2 fight momentarily once these Helmsworths stop being little jerks. And Dsitt's starting the fight through all of these random enemy rooms pretty soon.
Yeah, thankfully won't really be needing to use arrows now, so the lack of arrows aren't going to be that big of a deal, but boy, when you don't have many and you really need them for those red gories there, that's hair-raising, so gotta be relieved at this point. And that was a pretty sweet triple, if I saw that correctly.
Nice stuff. And the double to finish things off, so good Aga fight from Load there, taking down the evil wizard. Surprise, it was Ganon all along. We gotta go fight him too.
Well, don't spoil the game for our viewers. Jeez.
Oh my gosh. So Load was not lucky enough to find the silvers on the way up through GT, so this will be a silverless final phase, but still having some potions, you know, in case of some weird, like, losing all your magic somehow, I don't even know. Should be a-okay moving into this last bit with the gold sword. The first few phases go quickly, and this is 12 spins in phase 4.
And Dsitt opting to powder the fairy is now on Landmolus 2. Trying to make some quick work there in the first one, but not quite. And we are already on phase 2 now.
Yeah, and the gold sword only needs 6 slashes to push this phase, so Load just, keeps through all the fire bats, makes things easy, and we'll push Ganon to the next phase. We'll intentionally, burn the blue potion quite early here because Load was a bit low on magic, and there's not too much risk of actually taking damage past phase 2 of Ganon if you're used to dodging the single line fire bats. They're a lot easier to dodge than the spinning nightmare stuff from the earlier phases.
Yeah, and with each of those taking like what 2 or 3 hearts of damage with the blue mail, that's some pretty hefty damage.
Yeah, we'll get that torch glitch there. That's pretty important because it'll help not have to deal with lighting both torches. Actually managed to get a hit in with a slash, so that's 2 hits in on Ganon already. Gold slashes do the same damage as spin, so that's 2 out of the 12 hits required, now 3 and 4. So Ganon's
nice
going down
bit of
quickly.
luck.
Dsitt just getting to the top of the tower.
A nice bit of luck there, so
I believe we're at 6 now. Dsitt needs Load to fall to have a chance of catching up, but Load is doing a great job at this Silverless Ganon, getting 2 hits in every time, relighting that torch, 2 more hits, so Ganon does not have much life left. Oh, Load gets knocked away by a fire bat, but doesn't fall, so that's all good, and now 7 hits in.
getting a little too close to Ganon.
Spooky. There's only a couple slashes left, a couple spins left, and Ganon's gonna be down. Dsitt entering Old Room 2 now.
This is the point where you don't want to... Oh, and Ganon is down.
GG, Load just has to walk up through this door, and that is going to be that. Dsitt looking at that chest, hoping for some silvers, doesn't show up at the last moment. Loads through, and finishing in first place with a speed racing TV time of 2 hours, 1 minute, 30 seconds.
GG
Nice job.
Load, yes, absolutely. And Dsitt going to be making his way to Aga and Ganon, but I have to say, what are you thinking about the seed now that Load has finished us up, I guess?
Yeah, that wasn't the nicest seed by any means, and like it kind of baited you into doing pendants a lot of the time when pendants had, I don't think, anything in them, any of them.
Yeah, I can agree with that one. But our runners have both made some really good decisions. You can't really fault them for some of the choices they made here as well. So that's that there.
Yeah, I think the really big determining factor in this race was, Dsitt not finding the lamp as early and having to search around trying to maybe hunt that out before going for some dark room.
Yeah, and that's always tough too, because you don't want to do dark rooms, and especially where it's not in any sort of randomizer logic. That I can see where he essentially wanted that. So, but yeah, hopefully we can get Load in here for maybe an interview and just a chat with us. So let's see what happens here. We still got the Ganon fight, and here's hoping for Dsitt have a fairly easy Ganon fight.
Yep, getting those slashes in through phase 1. Phase 2 is probably already gone because it only takes 6, and we'll just hookshot, get some iframes, pass those fire paths with confidence. But phase 2's done. Use phase 3 again, and Dsitt will just have to slash 4 times and then go on to that Silverless final phase.
Here's hoping for a not rude Ganon.
Sometimes he's a bit mean, but
Yeah, I always try not to play around when he's on the bottom there, just so I don't get knocked into it while I'm trying to light torches.
Yep, so Dsitt setting up for Torch Glitch, gets it nicely, and now just has to go through 12 spins to get down this final boss here. Nice. Hitting 2 on that first cycle there, and you can go for triple hits, but it's maybe a little annoying to set up. It's a lot easier when you're using the fire rod, and if you're concerned about your magic, you don't want to do that.
No, I think at this point, just taking it safe is not that bad of an idea. Oh, stopping Ganon right in the tracks there, though.
Yeah, so not too much in the way of damage going there. Just being a little bit early on the spin, making this you get that stun effect, which is how you're supposed to set Ganon up for silver arrows, but just damage him like this during his teleports instead.
Yeah, if you don't have silvers, it's just an annoyance factor.
Ganon's more than half dead.
Oh, ouch. Oh, Dsitt, I am so sorry. I felt that hit.
Yeah, I think Load got the same position and almost fell, but like just barely managed to dodge that hit, like nicely in the corner there. But Dsitt was trying to get that torch light in there, not like. Sometimes you could see people like give Ganon his space when he's got the corner like that, but Dsitt was trying to just get past him. The firebat came out a bit too fast, so we'll have to re-enter. Fortunately, the first 2 phases go pretty quick with that gold sword.
Yeah, and I mean the way he got to phase 3 like so quick like that, it does not surprise me, and I think that's phase 1 right there is over. And there goes phase 2.
Poor Ganon. Just getting beat up. It'd be nice if you could, have some damage stick from like the end of phase 2 into phase 4. Just get all those extra slashes in as it's ending, and then you only have to do like 6 spins at the end. That's not how it works.
Yeah, agreed. Especially if Ganon decides to like teleport like 20 times all over the place and just be like a really rude jerk. So that's that would be something nice to have.
So, phase 4. Fortunately, Ganon being a little nice on the teleports. The random things like how many times Ganon teleports or how many times Ganon shoots blue balls is seeded at the start of the seed, but if you have to re-enter a boss fight, then it becomes, more random. Like, I think that the pattern just continues. Who knows what you're going to get then. But Dsitt now on phase 4, working on getting Ganon down again, and definitely has enough magic using the lamp here to get through this, but we'll have to just be careful not to fall.
Does he still have one more potion like that, or I can't quite remember.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure, so we'll have to see. Actually did a good job and managed to get like the first of what would be a triple hit on that last phase, but unfortunately missed one, so it's still got a double out of it though, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, I can't complain about getting a double. I mean, this is one of those things you just want to get it over with as soon as possible, just so you don't have to fear falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ultimate falling, though, would be if somebody were to just walk right into the pit after just being so excited or just a slip of the thing, and then, oh man.
Yeah, it can happen. I believe if you're on like the very top couple pixels of the platform and you hold up while waiting for the stairway to come down, like while you're in the cutscene, you'll just walk straight off instead of having the stairway come down. So I believe it has actually happened in races before, but man, that would be painful. Oh man, Dsitt's getting beat up a little bit by these firebats. It's on 1 heart, but does have a fairy bottle from having either earlier or having bonked that tree before. I know he bonked the tree. I can't remember if he netted it or if he just healed with it, but has a green potion as well, so has plenty of magic to potentially fire rod. The torch doesn't even need it. There goes Ganon. Last spin finishes him off, and Dsitt has finished.
So GG to Dsitt. Very nicely done. Unfortunate with the Ganon fall, but hey, it can happen to anybody. It really can.
Yeah, and crossing the threshold now with an official Speed Racing TV time of 2:08:27. GG to Dsitt. Well played.
Absolutely. Both of our runners have just done a fantastic job. It's been a really fun race, and I'm glad I've got to commentate it.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We'll see if we can chat with our runners post-race a little bit here in just a moment.
Sounds good. But until then, though, wow, I thoroughly enjoyed the seed. I don't know about you, chat, but I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, it was quite something. It was interesting. It was interesting to watch.
Indeed, that trolley bow, which it trolls me all the time, so I can definitely empathize with our runners here on that one. So yeah, that's a hard one.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, we're joined by Dsitt now, having made your way through that end of that kind of spooky seed, and how are you feeling after that race?
GG.
Thanks. Yeah, from the beginning, I did not like that. The death early on, that cost me 2 minutes right away. Set them.
Did at any point you feel like you may have managed to catch up to that at that point? I know I can imagine with that you were feeling kind of behind for a while, but
By the point I went up to Death Mountain and found the mirror and the flute, I thought, well, this will help me pick up some speed, but at that point I didn't have the lamp still, so I didn't know if my opponent sequence broke up there yet. So, but I thought, like, at that point, I had the chance to catch up quite a bit.
good. Yeah, that lamp wasn't in a very nice location now, was it?
No, it was like, I was going through my head, like, okay, this lamp has... Sorry, that was my phone. In my head, I was going, where other places, like, in the logic could this thing be? Because at that point, like, the whole seed was pretty much open, but the dark rooms. And I was, like, running through my head, like, what places before Mirror and are accessible? And Lamb was, like, the last thing, but I didn't have Fire Rod, so I went to Ice Palace and then found Fire Rod. I'm like, cool.
No pun intended. I like it, but yeah, I mean, I can imagine you're searching everywhere else because I don't think a lot of people would have thought that lamp would be Fire Rod locked behind anything. So that was really a nasty little moment on that one.
Yeah. And then, like, after that, besides that, I thought the rest of it went fine, other than the Vitreous death, which just... Ugh.
Yeah, the Vitreous is
fun.
nasty. No.
It's never fun. And then, like, come GT, I saw that my wasn't that done yet, so I figured that it had to be close at that point.
I do know you were actually the first to find the bow in that seed, believe it or not. So I would imagine that would have been a great relief for you at that point too.
Yeah, definitely. Can't remember what else. Oh yeah, I was missing. Was it? No, but yeah, I was missing lamp at that point still. Also, so I'm like, okay, 5 items. The dungeon I can complete. Dungeon. I need 2 more items. Why not?
But yeah, there were definitely some very interesting item placements going on there. Without because I thought right away too, as far as well, like once you got the hype kit, that was something right there.
That was great.
Can't complain with 2 swords, but I was like, wow, that really led to Ice Palace. Were you thinking Ice Palace at all too there at first, or?
I would. Let's see. Yeah, well, not at that point. Once I cleared more of the overworld and turned in the purple chest and dealt with the whole world tour thing, I thought, okay, sure. I could. Don't remember if I dipped into potting shop, but
Yeah, I remember you did. 'Cause I remember. I think you were the first to get the hook shot too. So that definitely opened up a lot of stuff for you.
Yeah, and then I just want to like, most importantly, that opened up the Eastern Death Mountain, and then Dark Death too. So the sooner I could get up there, the better.
And the good news is, though, at least you don't have to worry about like Moldorm 2 there as well. I had that in an earlier commentary that I did, where it's just Moldorm 2 is just not very nice. So thankfully that went nice and easy.
Yep. And blind played those too. I was like, I've done hammer blind like once or twice before, and even like when I'm practicing with a sword, I'm still like not the best at blind. So getting through that like seamlessly was a big confidence booster for me early on.
Yeah, that was really good.
That's really tough. I also wanted to say, like, you nailed that Dark Room in Turtle Rock. It was like almost as if you could see.
Yeah, I mean, I've played enough random. Like, Turtle Rock for me is like just holding like, if like I know the way that I want to go, and like I like kind of buffer the turning thing, when the platform moves directions. I just kind of like, yeah. So, but like, my Dark Rooms are like, other than, and if I get lost in that one, well, anyone's.
Oh yeah, those are nasty dark rooms, and I don't blame you either, as somebody who does not want anything to do with dark rooms.
Yeah, but man, GG. It was a fun race to watch. Unfortunately, you didn't win this one, but still was well played. It was fun to watch, and I hope you have some good races coming up in the tournament as well. It should still be fun.
Yeah. This was my first seed of the tournament that was above 2 hours, and I mean, if things went well, it could have been another one. So, I don't know.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Sigma, anything further you want to ask? I know I've been kind of hogging the questions at the moment.
No, I'm pretty good. I'll look out for your races next week. Hopefully, I can catch another one of them. But man, there's so much rando. Sometimes it's hard to watch. But
Yeah.
I had a fun time watching it. It was well played for sure.
Glad we both could put on a good show.
Yeah. So with that, we'll start to wrap up things here a little bit. But if you're still hankering to watch some rando, then you could go to Speed Gaming 4, Speed Gaming 3. And if you want something else, there's some Super Mario Odyssey going on Speed Gaming 2 right now. And if you still want more rando, some of the Link to the Past Randomizer channels have some matches just starting as well. So there's always rando, as you know. And it's going to be a good time. So we'll probably see you guys in some of those channels. But for then, I've been Sigma. Thanks for joining me, Rick. It's been a pleasure commentating with you.
Absolutely. And I want to thank as well Sigma for jumping in and joining me. Thank you very much for that one. I believe that we have Usgeek for our tracker. Thank you very much. That's not an easy job. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you guys for volunteering your time to do all this.
Yes, and again, another thank you to LoaDPille and to you, Dsitt. Thank you for racing for us. It's absolutely been a pleasure. Mega thanks, and follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 and ALTTP Randomizer 1 through 4, of course, for more great randomizer action. If you get your whistle wet enough on this, then yeah, there's some Mario Odyssey going on, like he said. But if you want more.
Yep, so thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you around. Peace.
See ya.
Absolutely. See you.